Hi, my name is Nicholas Kelly. I want to talk to you a little bit about Windows 8. And more specifically, we're going to talk about the Start menu, two applications which are called Evernote and TuneInRadio, which are available on the Windows Store. Now, the Start menu is different from previous versions of Windows, but it's still just a different way to open up programs. So, by default, the App menu is off screen when first open. And this is important because the App menu is probably what most resembles the Start menu from previous versions of Windows. So when you first open the Start menu, you're going to be greeted by a series of icons. These icons are called tiles, and each tile can be customized. You can resize them, and you can group them, you can name the groups, and you can't recolor them. Windows decides that on itself, based on the color of the icon. So this is one example of what my Start menu looks like on my laptop. As you can see, I have my tiles sorted into groups, and there's all types of funky colors and all different types of shapes. Make note of the little arrow in the bottom left later on. That's how you access the App menu. This is what the menu looks like when you rename groups. So the arrow on the top left is how you access the App menu. By default, you just lower your mouse over and click on it, but the point is that it doesn't open up when you hit your Start menu key. So within the Apps menu, you have the option of filtering by name, date installed, usage, and category, or you can also search. Now, the search isn't just limited to the Apps menu. You can search from the Start menu also. And you don't really necessarily have to click on the search bar. You can just start typing, as shown here. When I type in POW, it's auto-completed to PowerPoint. Now, there is the option to also search files, but that is not enabled by default. So the context menu remains intact for the Start menu. So this is how you add things from the Apps menu to the Start menu, or remove them. You can also have the option of uninstalling and various other things. So on the positive, it's a lot more visually appealing and a lot more easy on the eyes than the Start menu for Windows XP. I also believe that it's more efficient than the Start menu from previous versions of Windows, because instead of being distracted by a giant mass of every application you have installed, you're only seeing what you have added to the Start menu. So it gets you done in launching your programs faster. It's almost like Windows made a way for users to add a lot of icons to one giant menu instead of having them plaster their desktop with icons, as you'll see with some people who are new to computers, and some people who aren't. Now, one thing to keep in mind is, why would you want to learn a new way to run programs? And let's be honest, it's still pretty clunky. And with the smoothness that's offered by the Start menu, it's also a little bit less capable and less flexible. Obviously it's going to be a little bit weird to list, hundreds of items on the Start menu than you would with necessarily the Start menu in Windows XP. And it kind of carries over to the Apps menu too. So, to keep in mind that it took a lot of guts for Microsoft to actually go ahead and try something this new and to pioneer a different way to launch programs. So you better try it with an open mind, because it's not nearly as bad as people like to pretend it is. I think it's really easy to hate. But just hope it's refined in the future, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. So the first application that I'm going to talk about is called Evernote, which is a time management and organization tool. It's free, it's pretty simple, it's pretty intuitive, and it has a version optimized for touchscreens. So this is what the program looks like when you first launch it. So Evernote has categories. These categories are called notebooks. within your notebooks, you have notes. This is what it looks like when you create a note. So, some interesting features include the fact that it will automatically title your notes, and that you can also add reminders and share notes and tag them for searching, and probably some other stuff that I'm forgetting. So, as you can see in this one, I have Project 1 as my notebook, and within Project 1, I have some notes in the middle, and on the right displays the note. And as you can probably tell there by the giant red text, you can annotate pictures with a utility within Evernote. So, this is what the annotation menu looks like. You can add text, arrows, shapes, you can highlight, and I think it works with all basic image formats. I'm not sure if it works with PDFs, I haven't checked that out yet. So Evernote also comes with a Firefox extension called the Evernote Web Clipper. Despite its poor reviews on the Firefox add-on page, it's actually pretty useful. In this example, I was looking at the event info for a graphic book club, and I decided that I wanted to make a note about it. So besides typing the library, which is the notebook, or category if you'll remember, I haven't really done that much else to it. The rest it kind of just automatically scraped off of it. So, as I said, it automatically scraped it and titled it and dated it, and this is the result. So what's interesting to note about this is that it also took the image off of it. And so this image is synced up on the cloud. So if that image was vital to my information or understanding, it would be there when I pulled it up on my desktop. So what makes it unique is that Evernote is cloud-based. So it syncs between your computers and your phones, and the reminders are pretty neat. It sends you emails based on the time and date that you put in, and it's pretty interesting that it has a Firefox extension. I have to say it's pretty unique to Evernote. Now, the things I didn't like was that it required an email sign up to download. It's closed source, and the fact that it's closed source and cloud-based is obviously going to raise some privacy concerns with people. Now, the second application I'm going to talk about is called TuneInRadio. All it essentially does is stream online radio. Now, it's free, and it has a pretty simple interface. So this is what it looks like when you start up TuneInRadio. As you can see, it has plenty of categories, and that's not even close to all of them. Within each category are further categories and stations. And it's interesting to note that it also lists local stations. So when I first pulled it up, it's pulled up radio stations local to Durham. Now when you install it, you also get a tile on the start menu. And this tile will list the artist and other song information. Now what's cool about it is that it presents a massive number of stations in a way that's kind of digestible. It's easy and it's not overwhelming, and you don't feel like you're being smothered. You don't have to register, or you don't have to put any email, and it doesn't ask you too many questions. The live tile is pretty unique to that application. What's the best part about it, I would say? What's the best part about it, I would say, is that it takes the labor out of finding music. And what I mean by that is, I've had plenty of times where I go to start working on homework and I think, this would be a lot better with some music, to help me focus. And I go over and look up a song on YouTube, and it takes me forever to find it, or I get distracted on YouTube where the song ends too quickly and I'm looking again for another song. Well, with TuneInRadio, you can just go open it up, go to your recently listened to, and get back to work. So, one issue I had with it is that the streaming quality is pretty high and it takes a decent amount of bandwidth. So if your internet's not so great like mine, your audio is going to be choppy and it's going to buffer. It also crashed a few times. So, to summarize, Windows 8 is kind of in its awkward, high school freshman phase right now. Uh, but it's important to know that other OSs are kind of following the same trend. You'll see what I mean. This is a screenshot of GNOME 3. GNOME 3 is a desktop environment for Linux. So as you can see, there's a list of icons and there's a search bar. So, I mean, how different is it really from Windows 8? So, I guess what's important to, or what the point I'm trying to get across is, I wonder what this is going to lead up to. Is this a prelude to something larger, or is this just where we're headed? Is this the final destination, or a stop on something much larger? Thank you for your time, and thanks for listening. Have a great day.